Welcome to another episode of 17 County Podcast, where we spotlight the people, projects, and progress powering growth across our region. From business expansion to community revitalization, we bring you behind the scenes of what's shaping our future. We're proud to recognize the organizations that make this podcast possible. A special thank you to the dedicated stakeholders investing in local impact. Central Valley Ag, Clutie Incorporated, Overland Ready Mix, Collins Aerospace, Meade Lumber Company, and Perennial Public Power District. We're also grateful for the continued support of our financial stakeholders, Henderson State Bank, Midwest Bank, and York State Bank, who help drive business sustainability across the county. Empowering innovation and reliability behind the scenes, we recognize K-Junction, OPPD, and Nebraska Public Power District. Your support fuels the stories we share and the future we're building together. Now, let's get into today's episode.
Parker, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Tell me about where you grew up.
Yeah, so I grew up in Naperville, which is a suburb of Chicago. It's like an hour west of it. It's a much larger town than York, so this is all very, very new for me. But I liked it a lot. I always figured that I wouldn't stay there, that I would try somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
I remember when we met at the coffee station, and you mentioned about how big is the city that you come from.
I think it's like 150,000 people.
So is there any interests, hobbies that help you shape who you are today?
So I was always very into reading as a kid. I was an early reader. I think I started when I was maybe 3 or 4 years old. Once I started, I just kind of never stopped. And that's been a thing for me my whole life. I think I read 80 books in 2025.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so that was definitely an interest that shaped me for sure. Other than that, I was kind of all over the place in terms of what I wanted to do. I did dance for several years, a couple of different styles, and then I tried a gazillion sports, and I hated all of them. I don't know. There was always different clubs and activities I wanted to try when I was at school.
So yeah. Let's go back to the books. So
yes.
Is there any favorite book that you have, of a serial book that you really love?
Oh, that's so hard to pick because I have so many favorites.
You read a lot of books in the last
yeah,
year.
and I couldn't name them all.
Awesome.
I've probably forgotten most of them. Kind of speed through them, but oh god, what is my favorite book? Oh, one that comes to mind is Doppelganger by Naomi Klein. It's a memoir / essay collection, basically, and it's about, a writer, a researcher, and she's very commonly confused with another, feminist writer, Naomi Wolf.
Any other book that you recommend?
Oh, I'm gonna grab my phone and I'm gonna look at the list of books that I've written down that I really liked. Recently read, sorting by my 5-star reads. In the Dream House by Carmen Maria Machado. And it's basically a memoir about her experiences in an abusive relationship.
Okay.
And what I like about it is that it really takes you on the exact same emotional journey that the author experienced.
So I'm always curious to know how people ended up where they are. I want to know, how did journalism even enter in the picture for you? Was this something that you always pictured doing yourself?
Not really. I mean, I always figured I would do something related to words. I wanted to be maybe a lawyer, maybe an author, maybe something like that. But it wasn't until probably the middle of high school that journalism started to become a serious consideration for me. I took a journalism class, as my English class basically, sophomore year of high school, and I loved it. And then I also, starting around the same time, I was involved with the yearbook at my high school, and that's kind of similar skills, right? Taking pictures, interviewing people, stuff like that. Obviously, it's a bit of a different framework because it's more, you're putting a positive spin on it, right?
Yeah.
Rather than.
And that's something you did through high school, right?
Yes,
okay.
Yeah. So I did that
awesome.
for basically all through it. So I really enjoyed that, and so I was I think I could keep doing this.
Okay. So what brought you I know when we talked back in that coffee shop, you mentioned about you were looking for jobs and then you found this job in York County. Can you tell me how about that go in your end? Were you just looking for jobs? Were you just Googling and things like that? Can you just tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, in my senior year of college, I was just I was basically going on job posting sites and just trying to figure something out. It was originally it wasn't this job that I applied for first, but it was a job that is It was a job at a newspaper that's owned by the same company. I think it was in Kearney or somewhere in Nebraska that is near here. And then that one, they were like, I basically applied too early. I think it was in like October or November, and they were like, well, we can't keep the position open that long, but like we'll stay on you'll stay like on our list of people to reach out to. And then this opened up.
And we're happy to have you here.
And,
like, you're awesome. Yeah. And I know that, you're busy, you're everywhere. And I have to ask you, do you love what you do?
I do. I really do. Yeah, I think it keeps me like constantly like learning, and every day I kind of see something new about our community, and I think that's really great.
Is there something that people don't realize that it's hard on your end and they don't realize?
I don't know if it's something that people don't realize. I think something that's challenging for me is I'm a pretty shy person, and that's a really hard trait to have as a reporter. Like I have to constantly be reaching out to people, be starting conversations, and I absolutely love getting to know people and learning more about them. But like the start of every conversation is kind of nerve-wracking for me. I'm not sure how obvious that is, how much that like comes off in the way that I like act, but it's a bit of a challenge.
It's something that I always share every time that somebody asks me about you. It's like, I literally met you and I feel like we just clicked. You might don't feel that way about me, but I feel that way about you. So that's why you were the first person that I wanted to interview, because I feel very, very comfortable. And another thing that I want to ask you is, I know there's a lot of students or a lot of like adults that might want to go through the same path that you are going. And how do you can get there? Like, how can you get there? Is there anything that you recommend, or how that went on your end?
Yeah, so there's a couple different paths into the field of journalism. The one I took was a more traditional route. I went to college, I majored in journalism, and then I started at like a traditional newspaper right out of that. But you can major in something other than journalism, and you can get like internships, and you can work at your school newspaper while you're in college. You can also like start out by freelancing, and then sometimes that turns into like a full-time position. And then there's also like increasingly there are like non-traditional ways to do journalism. People are like becoming kind of reporters in their own style on social media, and so there's all sorts of different ways.
So writing has never been like a big skill for me. I was always big into pictures. So, I mean, it's the same, we're storytelling, but is there any skill that you think are more important in this field?
I think you have to be adaptable for sure. You have to because it's pretty much constantly coming up with new story ideas and figuring out exactly how that story is going to work. And, there's all sorts of ways that like something can go wrong. And then I have to pivot to be like, is there a different way we can tell this, or is they're just like a backup story that I can get so we have something on the front page. And so I think being ready to switch to try something else and make that work that's important.
I know that you are very involved in the community. How do you get all these events? Like, how you get informed? I know that you work at New York News Times, but how do you get involved and know about all these events happening? Is there something that you just follow on social media, all these organizations, or is there a way for us to find out how to get involved in these events?
So I use the city calendar is a big one. Like like the city of York just has a calendar posted on their website, and so that has like a lot of stuff on it. And then other than that, it is mostly following organizations on Facebook and seeing what kind of events they're posting there.
Since 1882, York residents have looked to Cornerstone Bank for all of their banking needs. Visit any of our 46 locations throughout Nebraska to discover the Cornerstone difference. Cornerstone Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
I know that you're very involved in the community. Is there something that you love about telling local stories?
So I think something that's especially interesting about local news as opposed to like state or national news is like I feel less replaceable. Like I see there's a very significant possibility that I might be the only person telling a particular story. I mean, we're not like the only source of news in this town, but we're not, there's not like dozens of other like papers that I'm kind of competing with. And so I think that's like I feel like the impact of being like a very direct line from like to the information that people have access to.
And it's you the one that it's involved. It's you the one that talks to the people. I have seen you, I think we meet in a lot of those events, and then you are always there taking pictures. And so I know that there's a lot of people like trying to figure things out, and they're maybe feeling unsure. What advice would you give them if you can go back and give yourself one piece of advice, what it will be?
I think, I am still like a young person that's trying to figure out my path, right? I don't necessarily have so much of the benefit of hindsight here. But the advice that I do have is like, you can't let yourself get overwhelmed with the idea that you right now are deciding the next like so many decades of your life and planning out how all of that is going to go. I think you have to ask yourself like what feels good like right now. What is the decision that I want to make for myself for the next like year? I think in a lot of ways you have to.
I love what you said there, kind of like living the present and not to worry about what it's going to go like in 10 years. Yeah. I'm personally like a person that tries to organize everything, like even my 10-year plan. But I realize that sometimes that doesn't work out and you just have to live the present and be happy with that. So from your perspective, what make your county a great place to live and work?
I think it's a very peaceful place in terms of like, both in terms of the way that people interact with each other. There's kind of like maybe a calm friendliness to it. And also just in terms of like the environment of it, like in a literal sense that the crowds, the noise they're very quiet in a way that I really like. It's very nice.
I know you have it over a year now, right? So is there any event that you love about York or your county? Like, for example, for me, I love York Fest.
I think, York Fest is definitely a big one for me as well. That's super fun. I really love like just like any arts related events that happen here. I think especially at like the Playhouse in the university and the high school, they do some theater stuff as well. And that's always that's some of the most fun stuff for me to cover. I just really adore like how invested this community is in art. I think a lot of like towns of this size do not have like they don't have as many like art events as we do here, and I think that's really cool.
And there's so many talented students, so talented kids, so it's very nice to support these kids and these events coming up. I don't think I go too often to those, but now that you said those, I should probably get tickets and support art. So what is your favorite story to cover? Is there any type? I know that you usually hear it's local news, local events, but is there anything that your favorite type of story to cover, basically?
I mean, I think, like I just mentioned before, covering theater events is like super fun for me. It's those are the moments where I'm sitting in the audience, I'm taking photos of it, and I'm going, oh my god, I can't believe this is like my job. Like I would do this for fun. And then I think also covering local government meetings is I feel that's really important, and I think it is really important that people stay informed, and that's not something that not everyone can be going to like every city council meeting and staying and doing like their own work to know exactly what's going on. It's so important to know what's going on in your community and what's going on with how people are making decisions that really impact your daily life. So the fact that I can and that I can help people get access to the information about what's going on there it does really feel very meaningful.
And like I said, I'm very happy that you do that. Not that you said that. I personally cannot go to every city council meeting. So what do? As soon as it's up online, I'll go and read it. And it's very important for myself to live here and to be informed what's going on in the local government. So I do love that you go there and you report that for us. Is there anything else that you would like to tell everyone that you love to do?
My favorite fun fact to share about myself, it's a very silly one. When I was a toddler, I was scared of music.
Okay.
And it was like really intense. Like legitimately, my parents had to take me to a child psychologist for it. I have no memory of this. Like, I don't know why. But I was scared of music. I would like refuse to like go to like preschool and to like kinder music because people might sing. Okay. And I don't know what was up with that. Anyway, I got over it. I play like 4 instruments now.
What are those?
So the first instrument that I learned was the piano. I started that when I was like 7 years old. And then the flute, I did that in like in school concert band and marching band. And then I recently picked up the ukulele at there's like a ukulele club that's here. Yeah, they meet every Tuesday at the library. So I'll-
That's happening. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
So that's like super random and fun. And
Okay, so
I've- Uh,
how do you find? Sorry, but I gotta stop you
Yeah.
for a second. How do you find out about the ukulele?
So that one's actually the first meeting of that I went to, I was just there to like take pictures. Like I was writing a story about it for the newspaper because I just was rushing to meet a deadline and I just needed something quick. And I was like, that'll work. That's like super fun and random. And they were like, hey, while you're here, like, why don't you just join us? Like you can, like understand more about what this is if you get the full experience. So they just put a ukulele in my hands and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. But I had so much fun that I was like, I'll come back the next week. And it's been a couple months now, maybe 4 months, and I'm still doing it. Yeah. And then the fourth instrument, that one's like super new. I just started playing the bass guitar.
Okay.
I got one for Christmas from my mom. And so I've been trying to teach myself.
Just by yourself. You don't have anyone that is teaching you that.
No, I don't have a teacher for that. Yeah. Just doing,
You
like,
are a
online
very
tutorials
interesting
and
person
stuff.
because I didn't know about that. About you. That's awesome.
One thing that's super fun for me is when people get like excited that a reporter is there. That's awesome. And I think the time that I see that the most is with like younger kids when I'm like at an event with the camera. They'll be like, take my picture, like you're gonna make me famous or whatever. But then I also kind of love a little controversy. It's nerve-wracking. Like I mentioned before, I can be kind of a shy person, but like it is kind of fun when I'm thinking like, oh, this person is gonna be so mad when I when I ask this question or when I like publish this quote or something. It doesn't happen all that much here. I don't think I've had like a lot of those experiences, but from time to time I do, and I do enjoy
You
that.
have to, you have to ask those questions because if you are thinking about it, most people, most likely another person is thinking about that question too. So you're probably the one asking, doing the hard job and asking that question. Thank you, Parker, for the work you do, for showing up at so many community events that matter in your county.
That's a wrap on another episode of the 17 County Podcast. As always, thank you for joining us to explore the business leaders, community champions, and transformational efforts shaping our regional economy. A final word of appreciation to our stakeholders: Central Valley Ag, Clutie Inc., Overland Ready Mixed, Collins Aerospace, Meade Lumber Company, Perennial Public Power District, Henderson State Bank, Midwest Bank, York State Bank, K-Junction OPPD, and Nebraska Public Power District. Your investment doesn't just support this podcast, it strengthens York County's momentum in innovation, growth, and long-term resilience. Until next time, stay engaged, stay informed, and continue supporting the businesses and partners that make our communities thrive.